Today, we have nothing to solve, nothing to prove, nothing to control. Before we do anything, I want you to know that you do not have to do anything right now. You don't have to relax. You don't have to stop thinking, feel peaceful, or even try to create an experience. You don't even have to listen to every word. For the next few minutes, you are allowed to just simply exist. Whatever your mind is doing, let it do. Whatever your body is doing, let it be comfortable. There is nothing you need to correct because perhaps for a very long time, you have only been correcting yourself, plans, outcomes, other people's behavior in your mind, trying to make things better, trying to make things right, make things make sense. And right now, you do not have to do any of it any longer. Take a slow breath in, and slowly, as you breathe out, again, slowly breathe in and breathe out. And now imagine for the next few moments, there is no problem. Not because every problem has been solved, but because you don't have to solve any of it right now. The business can wait, responsibilities can wait, decisions, futures, relationships can wait. The things you don't know can remain unknown. The things you haven't figured out can remain unfixed. Nothing collapses because you stop thinking about it for a few minutes. Now let that thought enter the body. Everything that says, if I stop thinking, something will go wrong. Everything that says, if I don't stay alert, I miss something. I need to keep thinking until I find the answer. I need to anticipate problems before they happen. Would you be willing to let that go? Everything that prevents that times a godzillion will not destroy and create it all. Interesting point of view that I have to keep thinking to keep safe. Interesting point of view that I need to know what's coming. Interesting point of view that I have to figure everything out. And I release the requirement to know. I release all of those overthinking patterns, trying to figure everything out, always wanting the certainty. I release it now. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, povats, creations, spaces, and beyond. Notice the actual future, the future your mind creates. All the possible conversation, all the possible outcomes, all the things that could go wrong, all the things that might happen, all the scenarios you haven't experienced, but you have already emotionally rehearsed. And gently let them disappear. You don't need to visit tomorrow. Tomorrow will come to you. You don't need to pre experience disappointment. You don't need to pre experience failure, rejection, conflict. Because if something actually happens, you will meet it then. You can handle reality. You don't have to handle imaginary reality. Everywhere I have confused anticipation with preparation. Everywhere I have confused worry with responsibility. Everywhere I have confused overthinking with intelligence. Everywhere I have confused control with safety. I release the confusion. I can prepare when preparation is required. I can rest when preparation is not required. Allowing my body to rest fully. It is easy for me to allow my mind to relax. It is easy for me to allow my mind to rest. It is easy for me to let my mind to be in ease. It is easy for me to be completely at ease. It is easy for me to be completely at ease. Release, release, release. Now imagine there is a part of you that has been working constantly. The internal manager, the planner, analyzer, protector, the one who is always asking, what's next? What if? What about this? What about that? Did I miss something? Could this go wrong? Should I do more? Should I have done something different? Now, don't fight that part. Don't judge it. It probably learned to work very hard because it believed it was helping you. So instead of pushing it away, gently say thank you. You don't have to work right now. You can take a break. You don't need to protect me from every possible future. You don't need to solve every uncertainty. You don't need to monitor everything. You can rest now. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, boys, povats, creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, boys, povats, creations, bases and beyond. You can rest now. I don't need any further protection. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, boys, povats, creations, best. Now, notice how exhausting it can be to need things to make sense, to need people to understand, to need people to behave correctly, to need your perspective to be recognized. And imagine putting all of that down. You don't have to win every argument. You don't have to correct every misunderstanding. You don't have to prove every point. You don't have to make everyone understand you. You can be right. You can still be peaceful. You can disagree and still be peaceful. You can experience unfairness and still return to yourself peacefully. Every place where being right has become more important than being free, I release it now. Every place where proving myself has become more important than experiencing myself, I release it now. Every place where another person's behavior determines my internal state, I release it now. I don't need to win the moment to protect my peace. Release. I'm willing to release it all now. I am willing to release it all now. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, boys, povats, creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, boys, povats, creations, bases and beyond. I am willing to release it all now. I'm willing to release it all now. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, boys, povats, creations, bases and beyond. Release, 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 release. Now, bringing your awareness to your body, notice if there is any subtle sense of rushing. Even while lying down, sitting, a feeling that something should be happening, something should be moving, something should be progressing, something should be achieved. And ask, what if nothing is late? What if this moment doesn't need to be produce anything? What if you're not behind? What if your life isn't a race? What if slowing down doesn't mean losing? What if slowing down allows you to actually experience the life you're working so hard to create? Everywhere I have made speed significant, everywhere I have made delay significant, everywhere I have made time significant, everywhere I have decided that I'm behind, I release those conclusions. I don't need to rush my becoming. I don't need to hurry into future. I am allowed to arrive slowly. I am allowed to arrive slowly. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, boys, povats, creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, boys, povats, creations, bases and beyond. Now imagine putting down everything you have achieved for a moment, just for a moment. Your work, success, responsibilities, money, relationships, ambitions, everything you have built. And imagine that none of it is being taken away. You're simply putting it down because you don't need to carry it in this moment. Who are you when you are not achieving? Who are you when nobody is watching? Who are you when you don't have to impress anyone? Who are you when you're simply breathing? Notice that you still are here. You still exist. You matter. You still are here. Your worth does not disappear when you stop performing. Every place I have decided I must achieve in order to be enough, I release that decision. Everywhere in my body, I must achieve in order to be enough. Releasing it all, every place where I have made success responsible for my happiness, I release that responsibility. Every place where I have made achievement responsible for my identity, I release that burden. I can achieve from who I am. I don't have to achieve to discover who I am. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pork, all 100 shots, boys, ads, creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pork, all 100 shots, boys, ads, creations, bases and beyond. Notice the part of you that wants things done properly, correctly, completely, perfectly. The part of you that craves perfection. Now thank that part and tell it. You don't have to make this moment perfect either. You don't have to relax perfectly. You don't have to meditate perfectly. You don't have to understand perfectly. You don't have to heal perfectly. You can simply be unfinished because life is unfinished. Learnings is unfinished. And unfinished does not mean broken, it just means alive. Every place where perfection has become a condition for action, every place where perfection has become a condition for peace, every place where mistakes have become dangerous, I release it. I give myself permission to learn while moving. I give myself the permission to be. I give myself the permission to be. Now bring to mind the people you love and notice how love can sometimes carry invisible expectations. I give, therefore you should give. I understand, therefore you should understand. I care, therefore you should care. I would do this, therefore you should do this. And now, let those invisible contracts dissolve. People are allowed to be different from you. People are allowed to have different capacities, different timeline, different ways of expressing. And you are allowed to choose what works for you. You don't need to control people to love them. You don't need to change people to love them. You don't need to understand everything about them to love them. Love from this moment onwards is becoming lighter and lighter. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pork, all 100 shots, voice, povats, creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pork, all 100 shots, voice, povats, creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pork, all 100 shots, voice, povats, creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pork, all 100 shots, voice, povats, creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pork, all 100 shots, voice, povats, creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pork, all 100 shots, voice, povats, creations, bases and beyond. Now, for a few moments, there is nothing to do. No clearing, fixing, visualizing, no past, future, no achievement, expectation, just breathing. Just breathing. In this moment, here and now. Notice the body, the space around you, the sound. Notice the stillness. You don't have to create this moment, it's already happening. You don't have to make life happen, it's already happening. Long pause, and perhaps for the first time in a while, you can simply participate. Everything I have been carrying that isn't mine, I release. Everything I have been trying to control that isn't mine to control, I release. Every future I have been mentally rehearsing, I release. Every future I have been mentally rehearsing, I release. Every past I have been trying to mentally rewrite, I release. Every expectation I have placed on myself, I release. Every expectation I have placed on others, I release. Every judgment I have placed on myself, I release. Every judgment I have placed on others, I release. Every demand that life must happen a certain way, I release. Every place where I have decided that peace might come after success, I release. Every place where I have decided that happiness must be earned, I release. Every place where I have decided that I cannot rest until everything is done, I release. Everything that prevents me from receiving the gift of simply being here, will I let that go? Everything that prevents me from receiving the gift of simply being here, will I let that go? And everything that doesn't allow that, will I destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creation, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Now bringing your awareness down into your body, not your thoughts, just your body. Feeling the weight of your body being supported. You don't have to hold yourself up right now. The ground is supporting you. You don't have to hold the room together. You don't have to hold your future together. You don't have to hold everyone else together. You can be supported. Let the jaw soften. Let the shoulders soften. Let the chest soften. Stomach, hands, legs. And if there is any place in the body still trying to hold, don't force it to release. You don't have to hold everything anymore. Imagine that your system receives one simple message: there is nothing to solve right now. There is nothing to solve right now, nothing to prove, nothing to anticipate, nothing to be perfect, to hurry, to become. Let yourself experience what it feels like to not be responsible for the next moment. You can meet the next moment when it arrives. And underneath everything, there may be a quieter knowing. Everything will happen exactly the way I want. Whatever happens, I can meet it. I can adapt, choose. It's easy for me to say yes. It is easy for me to say yes. It is easy. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Letting all these changes penetrate deeper into every fiber, every cell of your being. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100 shots, voice, Bobat's creation, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all under short spoils, Povards creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all under short spoils, Povards creations, bases and beyond. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all under short spoils, Povards creations, bases and beyond.